Wait. All right, now we're live. And welcome to the No Assembly Required podcast. The podcast that is really all about nothing. And now your host, the girl who giggles so much that she decided to make a YouTube channel entirely making animal sounds, Red Romina. And as for your second host, she likes to play with fire for some odd reason. And so if anything happens, it's her fault. Audrey Ember. And your final host, the man whose childhood dream was to become a supervillain, Roberto Blake. Yeah, no, and that's my fake intro for this particular episode.
Nice. They're just getting better every time.
Yeah,
no, Did we tweet about this?
I think I have a gift.
We did.
I think I did.
Okay. We're roasting everybody?
Maybe.
Someone told me to. We needed
maybe that's
catchy.
clickbait. Maybe that's clickbait. I don't know if we're gonna do that.
I did title this live as "Little Women Was Fire."
It was.
I'm gonna post it with the photo.
Did you tweet this, Audrey?
Yes.
I guess she tweeted it with the.
Oh, from the Twitter account of the show.
Of the show, right?
Right. We don't have a ton of followers over there, so I'm going to retweet it right now. I'm going to not only retweet it, but I'm going to actually do an original tweet of my own. And for the listening audience on the audio podcast, we will be more
prepared.
Oh, I don't know. Organized. No, actually, I'm not going to promise that because I think I'm lying if I promise that. No.
Yeah, and also we're called No Assembly Required. There is no assembly here.
Yeah.
That's
we just glue all the pieces together and hope that the furniture doesn't fall apart.
Yeah,
oh my God,
so I just tweeted all the things now. So hopefully we get some of our adoring
I'm still
fans.
In the process of tweeting.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Yeah, no. Looks like we have Gabe in the house. Looks like we have Gabe in the house.
Gabe.
So, I was gonna make that joke, Gabe.
Yeah.
For some odd reason, because Roberto said for some odd reason, but it sounded like for some Audrey.
Some Audrey-san. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. So something me and Audrey were talking about, Romina, while you were gone, is that so I don't know if people are up to date on this, but once again, Jake Paul has a controversy. And I was making the point that I feel actually genuinely bad for the kid.
Is it the anxiety stuff that you were talking about?
It was that. It's a number of things, but it's mostly that and the backlash around that. Like, I actually legitimately deal with anxiety and depression.
But that's his controversial thing.
Yeah, that's his big controversy. It's not something else.
I just want to make sure.
I know it could be. I mean, that's the thing. It seems like it's always something.
Just have a list.
Yeah, no, I get it. But in this particular instance, it's like devil's advocate here, grain of salt. I'm not Jake Paul's biggest fan or anything like that, but I'm just kind of fed up with cancel culture, and I'm fed up with literally picking apart and demonizing everybody for every little thing, especially an influencer, as if they're not allowed to say a dumb effing thing ever. And I mean, Christ, where's the statute of limitations on when you're allowed to be a dumbass?
There is none.
I mean, what he said, I understand why people picked apart, because the sentence, I think, was something like, hey, remember, quote unquote, anxiety is caused by you, chill out, take a walk, talk to a friend. Everything he said about what to do is generally, quote unquote, pretty standard issue advice. Talk to a friend, talk to somebody, get out of your head, get some fresh air, take a walk, get some perspective. Taking the first sentence away from that, there's nothing controversial here. It's picking over the first part of that sentence. And, Jake Paul is a dumb kid. Why are we sitting here nitpicking what some dumb 23-year-old says on the internet? I mean, it's the same thing when people go and dig up David Dobrik's tweets from when he was 16 years old. It's why? Why do we care? I don't know.
Because it's Jake Paul, and he's just such an easy target for, cancel culture at this point.
I'm just kind of over it. At this point, it's one of those things where it's like we've gotten to the point to where it's so stupid that I have to defend Jake Paul.
I feel like everyone is an easy target for cancel culture, though. I mean, I have friends who are not really in any, by the definition of like, if we're going by like Jake Paul standards, I mean, they really haven't really done anything aside from just being themselves, right. And aren't, out to do, they aren't stupid. They haven't done anything that's harmful. Anything that's like targeted
or malicious or
demographic. I mean, but it's just because of the way that they've been canceled in certain communities and
for like what, for example, like what was their grievous era? Who did they offend?
Right. I definitely don't want to get into that because
I see.
They are in like the circles and stuff, and I don't want to.
Okay, that's fine.
Throw them under the bus because
I totally get. But the fact that you even have to go there, the fact that you even have to use that rigmarole and stuff like that, just shows how
say that word again.
How stupid this is. Like,
I think I've ever heard that word.
Say the word again.
No, personally, I mean,
rigmarole.
I'm not advocating for anything, but it's like, if like some Roadrunner, Wile E. Coyote type things are like to go down, and like some cancer culture people, I don't know, if like somebody swung a giant mallet their way, I'm not sure how sympathetic I could be. Like, I don't know, some absurdity. Like, I'm talking some cartoon shenanigan absurdity, because I would never want actual harm to happen to a human being, unless, of course, they come around on my block and open their mouth. Because that's the Brooklyn in me, humor, right. /S, sarcasm, because we have to do those disclaimers now. See, like, no one can even make a joke anymore. Like no one can even be a comedian. No one can even just make a stupid joke anymore without fear of the end of all of their career, or without the end of or without a hate mob, without the pitchforks and everything like that. I mean, it's like, you almost wish for the pitchforks and everything like that, because then you just, you get, if you're me, you get your boys together, they pile out the Escalade, and then it's like, oh, what about these pitchforks? But you get what I'm saying? It's just stupid.
Yeah.
I don't know. Somebody bring up another topic.
No, I mean, I completely agree with you. I was tweeting out the thing. It took me this long to do because I was listening intently to what you were talking about. And so I had to stop every time to listen and pay attention to what you were talking about, and then go back to my tweeting. But I completely agree. I mean, I do agree. And I mean, obviously there's we have to have some kind of safety, right? But how much is too much safety? How much is too much safe, right?
You can't even make a joke anymore. Like, you literally can't make a joke anymore without fear for whom might get offended, when that's part of, I mean, I don't believe in punching down or anything like that, and I do understand that there are groups of people that are, genuinely attacked on a regular basis, but at what point do you give some benefit of the doubt and say, hey, not everything is an attack? Like, some things
I
are
believe
just
in punching
people
up,
being stupid.
especially if you're playing Minecraft.
What about just not punching? What about just not punching? What about that? What about not just not punching? Because I think even punching up implies that somehow those people are separate from us outside their circumstances. Like they're somehow they're excluded from humanity.
Right. But the cool thing about punching up in Minecraft is that
the thing I never played.
What?
Roberto?
Yeah, I've never played Minecraft because I'm old and shit.
Okay,
yeah.
Can I tell you something? Okay, so
I'm aware, by the way, of Minecraft and Minecraft culture. I've just never bothered to play.
No, it's fine. It's totally fine. You can do your own thing. I mean, I don't do Magic the Gathering, so it's, we all guard our thing.
Yeah. We won't exile you from the nerd community because you've never deigned to play a tradable card game.
But I will say Minecraft was my thing. Mm-hmm. I played Minecraft every single day for over a year. I'm not exaggerating.
Only.
I built a medieval village with a moat and a wall. We had a jousting ring. This was on a server with my friends.
Yeah.
Dude, we had a castle and the castle had various rooms, and each room was assigned to a different person in the monarchy. It was very detailed.
See, I love the world building idea of Minecraft. It's shocking I never actually played it. I probably would have let my
Oh yeah,
taken
I
it.
mean, well, this was when Minecraft was super beta.
Wasn't that like the origin of your channel, like your channel or your gaming channel?
Oh my god.
No, it
That would have been
wasn't.
amazing.
It wasn't actually.
Dude, I ran like a whole village on a Minecraft server for a while because you could like build, well, you had to like set up cities and then you could rent plots to people and you'd have like a whole economy going in a little town. It was a whole deal. I did that like all through middle school.
Wait a
Very
minute.
intense.
So my dreams of godlike power can be realized in the
You
virtual
could.
world.
Yeah. Well, when Minecraft, when I was playing Minecraft, you had to go like through this whole thing in order to get, unlimited powers, and you could fly and all that
Unlimited
stuff.
power.
And it was so much fun because like you could just fly and like you'd never run out of resources, and it was really just about building stuff, and just being creative with it.
That's literally. Wait, when did you stop playing?
I
I mean, I don't know the dates either, like when things
I don't
changed.
have the
But
date.
creative mode was pretty. It's like a common.
Yeah.
Like there's. Yeah, I don't know.
It's
You
funny.
can select it now.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that
Backer.
before.
So you
You
must
guys
have played like really when it was beta. So
Yeah, it was super. It was under the beta title. Like,
Do you guys know who Alex Becker is?
I recognize that name, but I don't know.
He's like an entrepreneur on YouTube. He was kind of a little bit of a marketing. He was a marketing bro type a little bit, but he's a really smart dude. He's a genius. But he he was one of those guys. He would film in his garage, and you could see the Lamborghini in the background there. But he's not like, it's not as bad as it sounds. He's actually a really smart and very funny, and he's a good guy. But now he's like he's super minimalist. Like he literally sold everything. I think he hasn't fully said it, but I suspect that he like actually broke up with his girlfriend and sold everything and like did this because he does these extremes, right? But I bring it up
because he plays Minecraft.
I bring it up because he was playing a game that was like Minecraft. I forget what game he was talking about, but he talked about this. He actually brought up how life works and how the mindset of like playing video games like that. And he brought up like these 4 bars that you have to fill. And he was talking about the idea and concept of managing resources and energy and time and things like that, and how playing video games actually makes you legitimately smart when it comes to problem solving and critical thinking. And he was talking about the way that game mechanics actually translate to the real world in terms of things like economy of effort and things like having to solve puzzles and having to that basically what you put time and effort and energy into is what produces a result. And he was talking about how like keeping score works, and it was interesting for him to relate that like entrepreneurship, and especially like at the high tier millionaire level, is all game theory and game mechanics.
Was the game Terraria?
Yeah, that's what I was.
It might have been something like that. And then he did another thing about WoW. He because he's done multiple videos about this, but he had this other one because he was building this tower. He was like obsessed at this point with building this tower, and designing it and making it perfect, and and he was talking about how much thought he put into it. And it was just one of those interesting things that when you talked about Minecraft and everything that you could do and the creativity and the world building thing, it just reminded me of how passionate he was talking about how that all relates to things in the real world if we really think about it.
Yeah, I learned a lot from, it sounds kind of stupid, but I literally learned a lot from playing Minecraft, just like learning how to manage people, because the town thing was like, I was super invested in that, and I had to like deal with people being a pain, and then like other people trying to mess it up and have everyone be organized and stuff. And I remember like once when I was probably in 6th grade or something, I stole stuff from someone and I literally got banned from the server, and I was so devastated that I contacted the owner, and I was like, I'll do anything, like please. And so he basically told me that I had to give back everything that I stole and I had to like double it or triple it in a certain
Oh,
amount of
no.
time. So I was just like hardcore going and trying to get it back, and that was like
Jeez.
a big thing in 6th grade. Like I don't know, it was a good lesson, I guess. So
Take
I don't know.
responsibility.
steal.
Don't steal.
Yeah.
Take responsibility.
So, like, yeah, taking responsibility.
I like how Roberto, that's what he goes to instead of don't steal. He's like, it's okay to steal, just as long as you take responsibility when you're caught.
Did you not catch the intro where we really called out the fact that my childhood dream was to be a supervillain? And you know, actually, interesting
No, I
point. on
caught that. It's just this is what we're roasting everybody. Isn't that what the tweet said?
Yeah, but that was just clickbait.
Oh, okay. We're not actually roasting people. Sorry.
we should roast at least one person just to not
Like, I have something for that we can get to a little bit and everything. But what I'm going to need I'm going to need everybody who's in the live audience to tweet out the podcast and invite people to come so they could witness the glory when we
and give us topics to talk about as well.
And give us topics, yeah, because we'll
we'll take topic suggestions from the live.
Yeah,
here.
Because I have something spicy we can save for when we get a more captive audience, a larger captive audience. But interestingly, the childhood supervillain thing is actually kind of legitimately real, because I like when I dug into a lot of like the motivations for heroes and villains, I found myself constantly more sympathizing with the villains, especially when Batman the Animated Series like came out. Batman the Animated Series and also Spider-Man were kind of like the archetypes for for modern people to start to actually sympathize with villains or realize that like there's shades of gray. It's not just good and evil and yay good guys and yay super friends and all this BS propaganda. Because here's the reality. It's like I think about in Batman. Think about the Legion of Doom, right? Think about the people who are the Legion of Doom and some of the most iconic supervillains of all time. What is it that actually led them down the dark path? Think about Victor Freeze. You guys familiar with Mr. Freeze from Batman?
Yeah.
You know what his origin story and what his crime was? He was using company resources at the pharmaceutical company they worked for to keep his wife, the love of his life, alive because she had the DC Universe's equivalent of Parkinson's disease, right? So she had what's called McGregor syndrome. So he had her in cryostasis and was using company resources because he was trying to find a cure for a neurological degenerative disease. Really, like, all right. And so what does his boss do? Instead of using this as the ultimate PR play and saying, oh, Victor, we're going to help your wife and we're going to dedicate absurd amounts of funding and research and we're going to raise capital for this miracle cure and this disease will never ravage the lives of anyone ever again, and we're going to own the patents, by the way, and we're going to charge an obscene amount of money, but we're going to take care of you, Victor. Just cure the disease. Just fight the good fight, my man. Like, they could have put all this PR behind it, and they could have, like, gotten a bunch of fucking grants from the Wayne Foundation. They could have, like, went to town. They could have owned this cure lock, stock, and barrel. You know what they do? Decide to pinch pennies and literally pull the plug on his wife, cause a tragic accident, make Mr. Freeze a mutant, and then he has to go constantly on a criminal rampage to steal money for funding so that he can cure a disease. Like,
I don't know enough.
Who's the villain here? It's not Victor Freeze. It's the pharmaceutical company.
Sounds like reality.
Yeah, that's the weird thing, right? That's the weirdest thing. Like, freaking Cheetah wanted to cure diseases and everything like that. No funding. All right, I experiment on myself. Poison Ivy becomes an eco-terrorist because she wanted to, again, use these plants, these rare plants that were going extinct, and she wanted to use that to cure diseases and do all kinds of research and everything like that. They had these great medicinal properties. What they do? Tragic accident. She becomes a freak of nature. She then decides to become Mother Nature and like take on humanity for despoiling the earth. You know, she becomes the opposite of Captain Planet. She becomes, an extreme version of that. She becomes the eco-terrorist.
Wasn't there a Captain Planet movie that was supposed to come out?
I don't know.
Wasn't there a thing that was happening with that?
There was a Don Cheadle parody of Captain Planet that was hilarious.
Yeah. But I thought there was a movie that was going to come out.
I don't know if there is. Right, so if you were going to cast people for a Captain Planet movie, who you guys cast?
I cast Audrey.
Wait, what? I don't think I've ever heard of Captain Planet. Is that bad?
Oh my god!
I don't.
Alright, I'll let you explain that. I'm gonna go get the tea.
Oh my god. Oh my god. You poor sweet
just-
summer child.
You just started a
Poor
rant
sweet
over
summer
here.
child. All the things that Audrey doesn't know about pop culture. Audrey, you have to Audrey, do me a quick favor. Google Captain Planet. Captain Planet. God. Is anyone in the chat? Does
Yes,
anyone in
tell
the
me I'm
chat
not alone.
remember Captain Planet, or am I just super old? Does anyone in the chat remember Captain Planet? I'm like, I wonder if I'm gonna get copyright claimed if I sing the Captain Planet theme song.
I don't know. You probably should.
Gabe hasn't heard of Captain Planet. How old are
See,
you
okay,
people?
it's not just me. Thank you.
How old are you people that you haven't heard of Captain Planet? Captain Planet, he's
Oh, you're
a
still
hero,
on that?
gonna take pollution down to zero. I mean,
What?
jeez. All right, so back in the
Not the only
90s,
one, yeah.
back in the 90s, in the days of Nickelodeon and in the days of actual legitimate cartoons and things of that nature, back in the 90s there was this cartoon called Captain Planet, and it was back when we were all part of this eco movement, and we were doing things like the Nickelodeon Big Help, and we were doing all these really great things, and we actually cared about the whales, and Free Willy came out and all these things, right? So back in the day, we all were back in the day, we all were obsessed with protecting the environment. My entire generation.
Audrey, have you seen Free Willy?
Oh God, she doesn't even know what I'm talking
I'm
about.
just not saying anything because I.
Oh dear God.
No. But have you? Okay, have you seen? Do you know what Free Willy is? Why are you looking at me like that?
Okay.
I am.
So Romina, the next time that
okay.
we're all hanging out,
We're watching Free Willy.
We have to literally give Audrey a crash course in the 90s because she missed it.
Oh wait, I feel like I've seen that.
So Abu says, "Is Audrey just on constant roast about her age?"
Yes, that's what we're doing.
I mean,
Forever.
yeah, but Audrey is 87 years old, so
Yes.
Forever.
Gabe
forever.
said Roboomer.
Roboomer, yeah.
Okay, Roboomer.
Okay, Roboomer.
That's Roberto's new
Back in
nickname.
my day, we
Oh,
had to walk
boy.
15 miles in the snow. Tell me you at least know that reference,
Fueling
Audrey.
the fire.
Audrey, tell me back that you at least understand that back in my day, we walked 15 miles
I
in the
mean,
snow.
probably. I need visual references for these things. Otherwise,
I'll give you a hint. It was on
Visual
Nickelodeon. Did you not watch Nickelodeon as a child? No, you grew up on
Not
YouTube.
really.
I forget.
Yeah.
I forget. You grew up on YouTube.
It was Cartoon Network or YouTube, basically.
Abu says, yes, Free Willy. I was obsessed with Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
So, Audrey,
Yes.
Free Willy.
15 Miles in the Snow is a reference to Grandpa Pickles from Rugrats. How dare you not
Free-
know that?
I think I saw that. That's the one with the whale.
Yes,
Yes.
Free Willy is about a whale that's in a tank at an aquarium, and then
Yeah.
this kid who is like a
A
hoodlum.
troubled teenager is a hooligan.
He's a hooligan. Yes, that's a great word to describe him. This hooligan of a foster child. He
Befriends.
he befriends the whale. He befriends the whale at the
I
aquarium.
feel like I remember this. Like, I think I
And
definitely
then-
saw this movie.
He realizes, oh, the whale shouldn't be in the tank. I'm gonna free the whale. And then we have a movie about this 12-year-old freeing a whale.
Oh, okay. I just saw some pictures on. Yeah, I watched that. So there you go. I'm not. I
Okay,
need
Audrey,
visual
one does not
references,
just
I'm telling you.
watch Free Willy.
I mean, I'm probably kind of pretty young. I don't remember
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh
So
no,
Captain
I'm crying
Planet,
right now.
Captain Planet was an entire, it wasn't a cartoon. It wasn't just a cartoon. Captain Planet was a movement when we were kids. You remember that, Audrey? We literally, kids would go and we'd actually buy Planeteer T-shirts and we'd actually go and clean up the parks and everything like that. And we'd all used to
Yes, I
yell
remember
Captain
that.
Planet.
Johnny
We used to
says,
clean up-
"Yo, what
We
up?"
used to clean up parks
Hi,
and
Johnny.
we'd pick up trash and we'd
We need Captain
we'd
Planet
go.
to make a comeback, or he's
It
Mr.
should.
Beast now.
Well, that's why I was thinking. I thought that it was I thought that there was a movie or something that was coming out that was Captain Planet.
I fully support the type of propaganda that Captain Planet is.
Jimmy, Mr. Beast is Captain Planet now.
I could make that argument, to be honest. I think I could make that argument. Although I literally think he should commit and literally just do the body paint and t-shirt. Yeah. Put on the whole getup. I'm not even joking. Like, I'm down for that. Like, I'm so down for Mr. Beast becoming the new Captain Planet.
I mean, it could happen.
I think that like is a tweet. Like, I think that's like a tweet campaign.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm ready. I'll RT that.
We're gonna trend. We're gonna trend it. Are we gonna trend it?
Yeah, we're gonna. Do we need a hashtag? Captain Beast.
Mr. Beast. So people understand what Mr. Beast is Captain Planet.
Yes, I like that.
Mr. Beast is Captain Planet. We're gonna trend this.
All right, that's how we start stuff.
Yeah, we're just gonna trend it. Like, everybody retweets. That's what we do in this family.
Okay, I love that we're a family now. Where you roast each other. Where you practice ageism.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least, we kind of are and everything like that. I mean, we all went camping and shit.
Yeah, so now we're a family.
We're a family now. Yeah.
Camping is like...
Roberto, what I was gonna ask you, Roberto, what are some voices you can do? Can you do some like iconic? What is your secret that like nobody knows of that you're just like, yeah, I can do a really great Mickey Mouse? Like, do you have one?
Well, I mean, a lot of people don't realize that I actually can do voices. See, that was like a close approximation to Mickey Mouse on the fly. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Audrey, it's your turn.
Oh, I can't do any yet.
Oh, come on.
I can't.
I mean, we obviously know
I'm
I can do
so
the
bad
voice
at
of Emperor Palpatine. We know that I have a great affinity with the dark side of the Force. So, yeah, we know that I can do Palpatine, I can do Mickey. I used to be able to do a lot more voices. I can kind of sort of do Jafar a little bit.
Mostly in song. Jafar. You know, I really don't remember Jafar.
Mostly in song, though. It's like...
Do you like a little, like a 5-second bit?
I'm just gonna hope we don't get copyright claim, but I'm gonna do a little
Change the words a little bit.
Nah, because I can't actually do that actually for some reason. But I can. I'm gonna do a little bit of second rate from the sequel to Aladdin: Return of Jafar, because I'm actually pretty good at it. I must admit your parlor tricks are amusing. I bet you've got a rabbit under your hat. Well, here's your chance to get the best of me. Hope your hand is hot. Come on, clown. Let's see what you've got. See, I can do a little
beautiful.
bit of
that was the best thing that I've heard this entire
So, like,
week.
yeah, I can do a little bit of Jafar from time to time.
That was great. I actually don't remember Jafar, so that could have been horrible, and I have no idea. Okay, so I remember
what you can live through. Like, that's another Jafar.
Here's the thing. So I have a thing where I'm not the biggest fan of Aladdin, and
I actually think he's the villain of the story.
What?
Aladdin. I think Aladdin's the villain of the story.
Oh, you think Aladdin? Why?
Because he was an unrepented thief and vagabond, and the thing is, he was an able-bodied young man who could have.
Okay, he gets second chances, man.
He could have been a street performer and made probably a fortune off of the coins off of the streets of Agrabah without stealing from hardworking merchants.
Hey, you know, Jesse from Free Willy was also stealing things.
I called him a hooligan.
Vandalizing.
Yeah, and he was a hooligan. And he also was trespassing.
Well, Johnny says, take it back about Aladdin, Roberto.
I don't. Like, Jafar was doing his job. Jafar was doing his job. He was running Agrabah with like an incompetent, childish leader who probably would have destroyed the whole country. I mean, if you leave it to him and everything. Jafar was actually competent. His only crime was being competent. And let's not forget that he's not the one who came up with the plan to off the Sultan and Jasmine. That was Iago. Jafar was actually planning to flee in exile. And his other plan, his plan A, though, was let's just use magic and get a better situation and wish for riches and wealth and power, and let's just get the heck out of here. Let's just peace out and leave these fools to their own devices. Let's just get this lamp right? That was his plan. Iago's the one who was like, let's just
Get the
murder
lamp.
the royal family. That was Iago's plan. Aladdin was a criminal and an unrepentant thief who could have actually been a street performer and made a decent living on his skills. He could have even been a bodyguard for somebody who was good enough to like actually trounce the palace guards.
The traveling clat would like to know what he just walked into. What did I walk into?
Yeah, like no. So I think Aladdin was I think Aladdin was a bad hombre.
Hey, Abu says that those merchants were subsidized by big businesses.
Oh my god.
Johnny says Aladdin was doing what he needed to do to survive.
Like, no, he wasn't, because for one thing, we find out in the third movie, in The King of Thieves, that he had a dagger from his father that was like gold encrusted and all that stuff. He literally could have sold that and been wealthy.
Third Aladdin.
He could have sold his father's dagger and been wealthy. Instead, he was keeping it under his pillow.
Who even made it to the third one?
8.
How are you Aladdin 3?
Again, it's proven.
I didn't even know there was 3 of them.
It's been proven in the Aladdin series, by the way, that there are street performers who were able to make a living, and Aladdin was a good enough tumbler and a good enough acrobat to have been able to make a living as a street performer and get coins thrown at him, and that would have been sufficient. He, again, was also physically fit enough to beat up palace guards, so he could have been a bodyguard. He could have
Why? Because he had abs?
Yeah, and then here's the thing. If he was going to steal, instead of stealing from merchants, he could have stole from other criminals like a Bismol.
Someone's saying Aladdin, #Aladdin is over party.
Yeah.
Cancel Aladdin.
Oh my god.
He could have stole from the other thieves like a Bismol. It's like, then we wouldn't have as much of a problem because he's stealing from criminals, right? So, okay.
I guess. I guess.
Maybe he just wasn't that entrepreneurial.
Alex Perucci would like to know what we are actually talking about. We're talking about Aladdin and the economy and how Aladdin was a good-for-nothing
thief. He was a thief. Let's just call it like it is. He was a thief. Like, how did they get us to literally root for a thief? Really?
All right, Abu says, let Audrey pick a pop culture topic. So here we are throwing Audrey into the spotlight.
I don't know. I'm so bad at this stuff.
Well, Audrey knows about YouTube. Like, you can pick a YouTube topic, Audrey.
A YouTube
Audrey,
topic?
pick something that is not YouTube and that is pop culture. Go.
This is...
See, I was giving her an out, Romina. Jesus.
We can't talk about YouTube every single episode.
We're all YouTubers.
Well,
we're all YouTubers.
Oh no, I've spilled my tea. Literally, there's tea everywhere.
You spilled the tea. Yeah. Is there any tea in YouTube right now? I don't know, because I don't really care.
Actually, Roberto, there is a tea in YouTube.
I see what you did there.
oh my god.
Audrey's like, there's so many other things I could be doing right now.
No. I don't think there's any big drama going on right now.
No, I don't think so, aside from the thing with Jake Paul that we talked about, which we just agreed was stupid. Did you see that people were kind of body shaming Shane Dawson?
Oh my god, yes.
Oh,
that's
really?
so...
Who? What? When? Where? Why?
This week.
It probably
On Twitter?
happens all the time.
Well, it happens all the
regardless.
time.
Oh.
Yeah.
He just pointed it out on Twitter, and he's like, "This is
Oh.
why I don't upload as frequently."
And why he said he's taking a break from the internet, and then people are actually upset because they wait and hold their breath for Shane to do stuff, and now he's gonna take a hiatus again. But legitimately, this is one of the things I was even talking about earlier in Twitter, is that people demonize and lionize famous people, influencers, rich people, as if they're not just human beings who have different circumstances. And then people are like, oh, all this fame and this money must be great and everything. You know what's not great? The fact that literally every one of these people gets 1,000 effing hate messages every single day. And if you think that they're sitting there ignoring it, they're not, homie, because these are also people who just happened to become famous on the internet. Usually, they're used to it to some extent now if they've been doing it a minute, but it really was mostly by accident for some of them, and there's not really any kind of handbook or formula for dealing with it, let alone, again, this is somebody who, it's not like these people are the people who are like the most popular kid at their school, you know what I'm saying, to where like they've had this charmed golden life. They might have a really good set of circumstances, a nice house, or not have to worry about money so much right now, but it's just kind of almost like how there are people who win the lottery. That doesn't make them automatically good with money, and doesn't mean that nothing bad is going to happen to them. Most people who win the lottery end up going poor, while most influencers are still just normal people who are going to mess up. You know, just becoming famous doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. And plus, Shane's been doing this for a long time, and like, I don't know, it still
But
gets
he's been
to
doing
them
it since
even
he was
though
a
they've been
kid.
doing
So
it
he never
forever.
did get to grow up.
Yeah. When did he start? I don't even know.
He was like 16.
Oh my god.
He's
Yeah.
OG from like the beginning of the platform. He was a kid. That's when most of the big YouTubers, people forget, most of the OG YouTubers and big YouTubers, they did this before they even left high school, or right after they left high school or college. A lot of them never had a normal childhood, a normal adolescence, or a normal adulthood in terms of the transition into adulthood. They never had that. They never had that in isolation. They never had that with like the regular. They had the normal problems compounded by a spotlight, and compounded with having to, in many cases, take on the responsibility of the fact that they became famous, and probably had to, like, to some extent, deal with money stuff, but also money stuff with all of their family members, because now they're rich, and
Yeah,
people
like-
don't think about that.
Like, look at all these TikTok kids now who are blowing up, and like they're so young. Like, how old that girl Charlie D'Amelio, like 15 or 16 or something? Like, that's crazy.
I doubt any of them are going to be mentally stable. I mean, that sounds harsh and that sounds like a judgment, and I'm not diagnosing anybody because that gets you canceled too, apparently. I'm just saying that I can't, like, you still, like, you're like, they say that your frontal cortex isn't formed until like after you're 25, so you're still developing as a person. But by the way, even if we don't want to buy into that, you like, who the hell finds themselves before they're 20, 25, even 30? Like, who the hell does that? Most people don't know who they are. They don't know what they want, and you have to actually find yourself and grow up and start relationships.
I think even now
with
it's
the
even
limelight.
later in life. You know,
Yeah,
like you're talking
agree.
about 20, and I'm here like, no, I know 40-year-olds who are just now, you know, discovering their
well,
purpose.
especially people who get
essentially.
married early. People who get married early, they never find out who they actually are because they've never been on their own.
Well, also because lifespans are so much more, you know, we live for so much longer, and just the way that work is, and so many people take gap years now, and
Yeah.
it's like there's so much, there's so many more opportunities to kind of delay that sort of.
My sister's on her second gap year. No, she's legitimately gonna go to like school or like working, but she's on her second gap year.
Cool.
That's pretty cool. But yeah, they're definitely a lot more common now than they used to be anyway.
Yeah.
Alex Perucci says, imagine having 20 million followers at 15 years old. I can't.
I hope that her parents are very like salt of the earth, and that they're able to keep her grounded and everything like that, because otherwise, one, she's gonna walk all over them. Can you imagine being rich and then your parents ever trying to tell you anything what to do? Because again, like, well, I made $1 million. What do you know? Like, I mean, that's hard if you're a parent to answer to. Do you realize how hard it must be for a parent to answer to your kid if your kid legitimately has surpassed everything you've ever done in life, and they did it before they ever graduated high school? How do you justify? Like, I'm asking a reasonable question. I'm not like a parent, but I'm also a kid that, like, not in my early teens or nothing like that, but by my mid-20s, in many cases, I had surpassed my parents. And, like, it's hard to give advice to somebody, because, again, I even talked to them about this, since, like, even when I was a kid, I was smart, and they wanted to enable and empower me, but they also were terrified of giving me bad advice or messing up, because, like, they realized that it's like, we're not equipped to answer all of your questions or the level of questions that you're asking. All we can do is feed you books, and sometimes find a really smart person to point you at, or an example, and just keep you grounded and like somewhat tethered to reality and real world problems. Because it's like, I was sitting there asking these existential questions. I was asking, questions, about the fabric of space and time. I was asking about the, I was weird. Like, I was a weird kid. I was sitting there, people like, I was 8 years old, and my favorite book was A Field Guide to Dinosaurs. It was a reference book for archaeology. This is my favorite book at the time. I'm 8 years old because I'm obsessed with dinosaurs. I get into something, I get obsessive. I mean, you get what I'm saying? Like, it's like a kid that's 15 and gets 20 million followers, is social media savvy, is better than most of the marketers on the planet, by the way, and is rich now beyond anything their parents have worked for their entire life, and they made it in like 1 year. How do you try to say that you know what's best for that person or tell them what to do? And I'm not saying you don't. I'm saying it's really hard to make a rational case or to defend yourself.
Yeah. Like Alex said in the comments that there's a Gary Vee interview about it. I did watch that. Like, it seems like the family's kind of, they're all taking it really seriously, which is good, not just kind of, I don't know. The parents seemed like they were handling it pretty well, at least trying to keep her grounded and just talking about it and stuff. That was a really good interview, though. Like,
I need to watch
you
that
see
one.
how much, because they talked a lot about dealing with hate, because you can imagine being like a 15-year-old girl dealing with 20 million followers. Like, oh my god. So they talked a lot about that. And I think there was 2 interviews. There's one, like, kind of when she was just had blown up, and then one, like, maybe 6 months later or something. And the difference is pretty, like, crazy, because in the first one she's so insecure, like, not insecure, but like it's new, obviously. And then the
Overwhelmed.
next one, yeah.
Overwhelmed. I mean, how do you think in that situation, like, how would you guys deal with dating in a situation like that if you were that famous? If you were that famous, especially when you're young, you don't have even a lot of relationship experience at that point, ideally. Like, how do you even deal with that and knowing, like, what the right thing is?
Well, I feel like I know too much about this, but she's dating someone, just use her as like an example, I guess. She's dating someone publicly right now who's also a big TikToker. And
I
there's
guess
just
that makes
been
a certain
so
amount
much,
of sense.
there's been a lot of like conspiracy theories that they're just doing it for like the clout or whatever.
What, just because that's what Jake likes to do? Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not. It's just, it must be really hard because you can see that it definitely gets to her when people make
I don't
comments
think at
about
15
either
years
of
old,
them.
I don't think you
That's
can fake
crazy.
anything like that at 15. Even if you started out as
Yeah.
fake, you're 15. You have no emotional impulse control at 15. Even if you wanted to theoretically start it out fake for clout, you're going to catch feelings in 0 to 5 seconds. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. You're going to get the butterflies. It's just how it is. Because at like 15, like, you like everybody. That's just how it is. Like, at 15, that's like a 12. Like, I mean, that's just that's just how it is. I mean, I don't know. Like, but it makes sense that you date another influencer, but like, you know, because they at least understand and they're going through the same things. But there's the other side of that coin, right? The inevitable breakup, if that should happen, like, how does that affect, I mean, I hate to be that guy, but how does that affect the brands? How does that affect the brand?
I don't know. It's gotta be. I can't even imagine being 15 and having to deal with 20 million people commenting on your
On your
relationship.
relationship, yeah.
Can you imagine? Oh my god.
That's why I have a private life.
Yeah, it's kind of tough because, like, you kind of expect, like, you don't expect it, but you know, you're told, obviously, like, you know, if you are in a TV show or something, you kind of have this idea of like, okay, well, if, you know, this show takes off, then maybe I'll have a substantial amount of followers, like I'll become famous, or
Oh, you mean
maybe I
like
won't
the
be
people
famous.
from MTV Real World? Because like there were like 2 people from my town back when I lived in North Carolina that had done that.
Well, I mean, just in general, like, people kind of not expect, but there's kind of like knowledge of, okay, if I am doing this, if I'm putting myself public, then I'm inviting, you know, that kind of reception at some point. But it's not ever a guarantee, and sometimes it's so much larger than what you would expect. I mean, like, if you just look at the kids from Stranger Things, I mean, they have millions of followers, and just like, if you just look up Millie Bobby Brown,
Oh God,
like,
I have.
you
That's
just,
a whole
I
thing.
mean, she's like 12, and
She's
has-
12?
or well, she was, like, when she did
Oh,
I think
the,
she's like 17.
she's probably
now,
like,
right?
She must have been like 12 when they started, so I'm guessing. Yeah, maybe she is like 17.
I think that's what I heard. Like, I don't know.
16 or 17.
I don't
would
keep
be-
up with it enough. I actually haven't gotten past the first season, believe it or not.
But I mean, imagine that. She's like, you know, it's like her first TV show, and then suddenly she's this worldwide.
Well, this is partly why they used to
superstar, you know?
cast adults as teenagers back in the day.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons. I mean, the other was contracts, but I mean,
16, yeah.
it's a lot. You know, I mean, even I think about this, like I talk with people about this and stuff like that. It's like, it's weird because the thing is, aside from like, I mean, I have a lot of friends that are in social media, but a lot of my closest friends are still what we kind of refer to as civilians. Like, you know, they're not in the life. I mean, everyone uses social media, so it's like, you know, people would like to believe, oh, on a long enough timeline, everyone's an influencer, right? And maybe that's true. I don't know. Like, at this point, who knows anymore? But in terms of having a large following or like thousands of people or tens of thousands of people, like, no, most of my friends are civilians. Like, they don't really get into this stuff. They are part of the audience, so to speak, right? They work 9 to 5 jobs, and there's nothing, if you're happy, there's nothing wrong with that. If you're happy and you're, you know, and you're not struggling, there's nothing wrong with working a 9 to 5 job. But what I'll say about it is the dynamics of, see, the problem would be, and this is the problem that I've even run into myself. I don't know if you guys ever want to comment on this or not, but like, here's the problem I've ran into. The scale of your problems is so far removed from what the average person deals with that sometimes, like, there's no empathy because they're like, they would love to have your problems, but they're not actually going through it. So they think that they would love to have your problems, but they're not actually going through it. And you're not, it's not that you're trivializing their problems, but you've already figured out how to overcome that problem. It's the kind of same thing like how when you look at a kid, right? You have a younger brother or sister, or you have a kid, and like, you know, something's the end of the world for them, but you've already lived through the bullying or falling off and scraping your knees or you know, having your tonsils out or whatever it is. You've already been through it. You know that, oh, this is survivable. This is like a thing you'll look back on. You've already been there. You know what I'm saying? So for you, it's past tense, but for them, it's what they're going through now and what their experience now is, right? And for them, theoretically, if they were to succeed at some point to the same extent, your problems would maybe represent what their future is, and we can't conceive of a future problem. You guys get what I'm saying? Like, you can't, you think, oh, it'd be nice to have that problem, and then when you get to a point where you're experiencing that, in the present, you're like, oh, I don't know why I thought that this problem was trivial. It's actually really freaking horrible to go through this.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Speaking of adults playing children, the first thing that came to mind, Saved by the Bell.
That, I thought about that, yeah.
Yeah, because they were very clearly adults.
There were a lot of adult issues behind the scenes of that show.
Yeah, you know, I was never really into Saved by the Bell. I mean, I would
Really?
watch it just because it was like there, like when I got home from school or before I left to go to school.
Oh, wow.
But it wasn't like I wasn't super into it. Like
I totally had
but
a
I
crush
was-
on Lisa Turtle, and I totally wanted Zach's pause superpower. His
Dude, I just Googled
It's
it.
time
What
out.
is this?
oh my god,
never
another
seen
one.
Saved by the Bell. Roberto was literally taken aback. Did you see?
I agree with Andy, by the way. I was totally into Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I was obsessed with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, VR Troopers, Superhuman Samurai, Cyber Squad, but screw Tattooed Teenage Fighters from Beverly Hills. Screw that show.
Saved by the Bell is probably like the most 90s you can get.
Mm-hmm.
I agree, by the way, with Abu. I was totally into Sabrina and Clarissa. Clarissa Explains It All was actually the first vlogger. It wasn't
Clarissa
Joey
Ex-
from Friends. It wasn't Joey from Friends. Clarissa was the first vlogger.
And it wasn't iCarly.
Exactly. No, it wasn't iCarly. Although I totally dig that show, and I'm actually a big
Oh, I
fan
love
of Jeanette.
iCarly.
I'm a big fan of
iCarly's so
Jeanette
much fun.
McCurdy as a now that she's a producer director. Like she's
Yeah.
actually really cool. Like she's
Yeah.
totally dope.
Yeah, I love Clarissa Explains It All. That's also super 90s.
Oh
Like
yeah,
just the way, like the aesthetic of the show, like the wardrobe, the way
everything.
that everybody talked on the show. That, and there was also Flash Forward, which I don't know if you remember that,
I do.
Roberto.
I remember everything.
Flash Forward, which with what's his name, Ben Foster,
Mm-hmm.
and then Alex Mack, and then
Oh my god, The Secret World of Alex Mack is like the show that I absolutely want to reboot, along with Are You Afraid of the Dark and the Hidden World of of Alan Strange, like, and Animorphs. Hardcore Animorphs fan. I will reboot that tomorrow. I will direct it. I will do it proper. I will do it proper. We will not cancel it after one freaking season, Nickelodeon. We will do this Netflix style, and we're gonna get like freaking 10 episodes, and we're gonna get 6 seasons, and we're gonna do it right, and we're gonna get a budget. So help me, I will smite anybody who stands. I will destroy all those who oppose me. Like, we're doing
ooh, this is an interesting. Okay, you will someday, Audrey.
See,
Don't worry.
Gabe
about it.
said he hasn't heard any of these
What?
either, which
What
means
where's Gabe? I don't see him saying that.
Animorphs was like the best young adult
go?
book series
Oh, I see.
of the entire 90s. Animorphs was like the best young adult book series. It was one of the longest running young adult book series. I think it was like
calling us
what,
old.
50, it was like 50 or 60 books long it ran. Like how many
All right.
Animorphs, like
But
Animorphs
this
was
is-
a big deal.
This is an interesting
I read
topic.
those books. In
Andrew says.
I think it was 50, 60, 54 main books and 10 companion books. 64 books. That's a really long run.
I didn't read any of those. So Andrew, he says, and I do not agree with what he says, but iCarly was more sketch comedy than vlog, though. And I argue that it wasn't, because she also, first of all, it was very much like the YouTube culture of creating video for yourself and then putting it online yourself with your own
Vlogging is
distribution.
not. Casey Neistat redefined vlogging, and that's why everyone thinks that that's what a vlog is.
Right, because I used to do like sit down stuff. I would do like comedy sketches and stuff like that on my original YouTube channel, like back in 2007, 2008. And I consider that vlogging, because I feel like anytime you pick up a camera yourself, it's just vlogging. But I don't know. What do you think about that, Audrey?
Well, vlog is a video journal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like anything's a vlog.
I agree.
Think
I would
about it.
say that I do vlogs in the commentary format, which is old school YouTube. My YouTube channel, the only difference between what I do and what Philip DeFranco does is that he covers the news and topics in internet culture that interest him. Like, that's the only difference between what I do and what Philip DeFranco does, and the fact that he calls them episodes, essentially. It's the same thing with Gary Vee back when he did Wine Library TV. It was a wine vlog. It was him talking about one subject matter, which was wine, directly to camera to the audience.
So Music Gear Network says, I'm 52 years old, so I remember TV shows all the way back to MASH.
I remember MASH. I
I
remember
remember
Mary Tyler
MASH
Moore
too.
show.
I used to watch MASH.
I was a child who back in the day used to watch old shows on Nick at Night. That's all I did. I had insomnia. I never really slept, actually.
What?
Audrey's
Yeah.
like, that's concerning.
I mean, so I watched, like, from the time I was like a kid, I watched like the Mary Tyler Moore show, Dick Van Dyke, Toby Gillis, God. So
I was
many.
more into the Munsters.
I watched that too. I was like all about the Munsters.
The
Addams
Audrey's like,
Family.
what are the
I have
Munsters?
no idea.
Okay, Audrey,
You
do
know
you
who the
know?
Addams Family is, Audrey.
you know what-
I
For
recognize
Christ's
the
sakes.
name, but I never watched.
Do you know
it.
what the Addams Family is?
I recognize the name, but I've never watched.
Gilligan's Island. Oh my God, yes. She doesn't know what Gilligan's Island is.
See, Gabe doesn't know what Monsters is either.
Monsters. Oh
Okay,
my
Gabe, do you know what?
dude.
And Gabe's my age, so that's why. I
Okay,
keep
guys, we're
Monsters.
not trying to throw you guys under the bus. Roberto and I are not
Give them
flexing.
one.
We're just old.
We're just reminiscing.
What's that one rap song that, cause I'm old, cause I'm old, cause I'm old, cause I'm old. Like, it's like, or what's that one from like Boondocks there, that you just mad cause your ass is old. Like, that was the Boondocks one that they did when they were dissing Grandpa.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love.
Oh, I think the
loved
Boondocks is getting
Boondocks.
another season now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it's coming back.
Did you ever see the Uncle Ruckus
Yes.
the movie?
Yes, I saw the
That they did?
Kickstarter for that. Yeah, that was legit. Oh, someone brought up the Wonder Years. Here's the thing. I actually
okay.
have met Danielle McKellar in real life. Winnie Cooper, real life Winnie Cooper. I actually have a selfie with her and me
That's
and Mitch
amazing.
Jackson from a conference and everything.
So
like
I was
that.
actually going to bring up Wonder Years when I was talking about Saving by the Bell, but we got derailed. I was going to say I was never really into Saved by the Bell, but I was really into the Wonder Years. Like, I love the Wonder Years. And actually, guys, the Wonder Years is all on Hulu.
I think it's all on Netflix.
It's not on Netflix.
It's on Hulu then. Okay, because
Yeah,
I
it's
have
all
of
it's
those
all on
it, yeah.
it's on Hulu.
Okay.
It's not on Netflix. Trust me, because I started watching it like 2 weeks ago.
So I don't know which things are on which anymore because I have Apple TV, so it's like now it's just in my Apple
Oh,
TV.
it's all ooh,
Yeah, it's all just
Yeah.
there.
just all in one thing.
Yep.
Someone told me to Google Eddie Munster.
Yeah, I was obsessed with the Wonder Years, man. I can quote whole episodes.
Oh
and plots
yeah,
and,
I mean it was so great. I mean I started watching it a couple weeks ago on Hulu, and like everything just kept coming back, like
I
coming
think
to
we
me.
need
where-
I think we need a reboot of that in the modern era, and it doesn't even need to follow Kevin and Winnie's kids. We can literally just have our own Wonder Years for this generation, and I think it'd be dope as hell. I'm down to produce and direct. I swear to God.
Oh, and you know what? And I mean, what would be interesting is kind of doing the concept
but I would stage it in the early 2000s. Yeah.
But doing the concept of the Wonder Years, but having it be, the kid going through like the 90s. That would be a big hit.
We could do the 90s, but I'd rather do the 2000s because it would be more relevant to the current generation of people watching, and it would also because you'd get to push the kids into.
Yeah, but we could start with
Because
like
you could-
late 90s.
No, I would start in the 2000s because
You're missing an
or the
opportunity
late
here.
or I would start at the end of the 90s. The very tail end is in 1998 or
That's what I'm
something.
saying.
Well, here's the thing. I want to get to a season where we're forced to address 9/11.
I'm going to get to a season. All right, but you don't want to do that in the very first season.
No, but I want to get to it by season 2 or 3 because the Wonder Years itself was addressing, if I'm not mistaken, the Vietnam
Right.
War.
Mhm.
So like, I want to get to
Right, we
those
have to have some kind of
I want to get us to that place because again, we in the
Yeah.
first what was it in the first episode of the Wonder Years, we have to deal with death.
What?
Andy says that
The main character,
the zero zeros nostalgia is on the come up.
Can you
like
see
by
this?
the first or second episode
Yeah,
of
that's
the
Eddie
Wonder Years.
Munster. That's
Yeah.
What is this?
So
the original
Audrey,
Justin
you
Bieber.
have to watch the Wonder Years. Audrey, you have to watch the Wonder Years, but it's like, all right, actually, we won't spoil it for you because you have to watch the Wonder Years.
Actually, Audrey, you would like the Wonder Years
Why?
You would love the Wonder Years,
because it's really good.
but you have to watch it from the beginning.
You have to watch it from the beginning.
What type of commitment is this?
The same kind of
What type
commitment
of
as watching Boy Meets World.
You watch it whenever you
It's
want.
basically the same kind of commitment as watching Boy Meets World, but without that much humor. Like, it's not tongue in cheek, and there's no laugh track from the audience and everything like that. It's a lot more somber, and it's really a coming of age story.
It's definitely nostalgia porn.
It is. It is.
Okay.
Oh my God, so much.
Oh man. All right, guys. If anybody has any topics you want to throw out last minute, now's your chance because we are going to probably wrap this up in the next
Are we
10,
wrapping up on time?
10 to 15 minutes.
Theoretically, we are. While they wait for topics, I mean, I only
I'm
wanna
just giving them a
briefly-
heads up because we have
Well,
reached 59 minutes, so I just
Yeah.
wanna...
Well, while they
start
come up with
wrapping
stuff,
it up.
I just want to briefly ask you guys. Like, I don't want to get super long into this, but I have some jokes that we can make about it. Like,
Uh-oh.
did you guys happen to watch the Democratic debate last night?
Oh
Yes.
boy, no.
I watched half of it.
Did you watch like it's like Pete and Lizzie got the knives out, man. Like there was some shivving going on there. I was like, oh my god, call the cops. We have a murder on our hands. Like it was.
Well,
it
you
was
know I don't
pretty-
watch the news. You know I don't watch any of
It was
that.
like, I mean, Audrey, what was like the most like freaking cringy or the most like damn son like moment you caught of the
Definitely
debate?
when Elizabeth Warren like went at Mike Bloomberg
Like
like
Mike
right
Bloomberg.
off the bat.
Like was it what I remember what was it she said to him that was so like because I mean there was something like meme worthy stuff I just don't remember what it was but I was like I remember watching and going damn Lizzie.
She was intense. I was just watching the Philip DeFranco's video where he kind of went over it and he replayed it and I was like, yeah, it was good. It was really funny. Like I don't
But
know.
I'm gonna tell you though, Mike came for Bernie, and I'm like that line. I won't never forget. Here's the line that I'm gonna remember for the rest of like forever and everything like that. It's like, wow, we have the world's most known socialists up there, and he's a millionaire with 3 houses. What a country we live in. What like God bless America. Like I'm never gonna forget that one because I'm like,
There were a lot of
"Jeez,
good.
that was a little like okay, whoa. Whoa. But yeah, I mean, I think obviously, you know who the winner of the of that debate last night though was? You know who the real winner was?
It was me because I didn't watch it.
Well, the runner-up, like if Romina is the winner, the runner-up was Andrew Yang, without even being on the stage, because he got to chill in the cut in the CNN newsroom and roast everybody, and and be beloved. And you know what everyone said? Man, I miss having you up there. And for me, I really missed having up there because I was like, I need an adult. I need an adult because it became children bickering. It literally became children bickering. It felt like being on the back of the bus and watching. It felt like, here's the thing. It felt like being on the back of the bus if I went to a rich boarding school.
Isn't that what all politics feels like, though? Just a bunch of children bickering?
A bunch of rich, entitled brats bickering and forgetting that, you know, the real world exists. Because, I mean, it's like, I mean, think about it like this. I mean, they were bickering and debating over, like utter nonsense. It was absurd. Like, they were debating. All they did was roast each other on their record of what they voted for or how rich someone was or how rich someone wasn't and everything like that, as if the American people, like, really give a crap. Like, come on. Like,
All right, before we wrap this up, I do have something really important that I need to bring up.
Yeah.
And I would like to know, Audrey, what have you done with the capitalizing of your name?
Ooh. I decided to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So now it's like half.
I'm down. I mean, it's like, I think it's pretty dope, actually. I was like, okay, that's
Funky.
different.
For the people who are just listening, Audrey has decided to only capitalize the consonants in her name.
That was an accident.
Unintentional.
Yeah. I just decided because last time we were arguing about it not being all caps, so I decided to just do like half.
Andrew says she went full SpongeBob meme.
Yes.
Yeah. Hours later.
Exactly.
Yes. She was roasted last week, so she had to switch up the capitalization. Absolutely. And I commend her for her bravery.
Yeah, no, I commend the creativity in her
Right.
approach.
The bravery and her
It
creativity.
took a lot of thought.
All right, guys. I guess we're gonna wrap this
Did we
up.
get another topic at all?
No, I think everybody was just agreeing and disagreeing, and
Well, before we go, why don't we tell, like, what is everybody up to? What is everybody working on, or what is everybody up to? What do you have going on in your life?
well, basically, I'm drinking tea right now. Yeah, I guess that's it.
Audrey?
I finally finished a video today that I've been working on for a while, so that was fun.
Okay.
And I think it's doing well right now anyway.
What was this one?
It's a Playing with Fire episode on, do you guys know Best Dressed?
It sounds familiar. I think so, yeah.
She's like, I don't typically make videos about like lifestyle vloggers, but I don't know. Her style is like a little bit more filmmaking-y,
It's more cinematic.
cinematic than like most like lifestyle vloggers. So I just made a video about it. It was fun. It took
Interesting.
forever.
I put out a video. It is not performing nearly as well as I would like, but it could change. But it is a topic that I want to build authority around, and all the response to it has been good. Everybody, like, that's the thing that gets me sometimes. I mean, I try not to think about views, and I try to think more about targeted traffic. I try to think more like a marketer than, like, here's my struggle, guys, and maybe you can talk to me about this. Like, because like I on the surface to other people, because you guys know that I hoard my actual creativity. Like, I'm like, all right, I'm taking photos that I'll never post to Instagram. I'm printing them. You know, oh, I'm drawing these drawings that are for me and anybody that comes over, and like nobody's gonna see this. Like, or I'll like post it under like some other thing. Like, I don't share my actual creative work to be criticized by the populace, by the peanut gallery. You know, I keep my creativity like for me, just like I did before the internet existed. You know, I act like it's still 15 years ago and there's nowhere to post this shit, right? So I actually still am a creative, but the thing is, for all appearances on everybody else's thing, I'm a businessman. Like, for all intents and purposes, I'm a business guy and I use creative appliances, like, because no one ever sees like any art from me, right? And I get that criticism a lot, and I'm like, yeah, because I made enough money to not have to monetize my art and have you effers pick over it. Like, I get to actually be an artist, which means I get to make crap for me. And the rest, where the rest of you have to do what the people want, I can say screw it, and I can do what I want, you know, because I monetize something that I can let go of a little bit. So like, I struggle with this though a little bit though, because I feel like, for all intents and purposes, all the feedback is positive. I'm getting really good comments. People are saying how useful and helpful this stuff is. And yet, I know that people are passing over it to click on things. And I get it. I know that it'll always be entertainment versus education. Entertainment versus education. They're picking over and choosing to watch things that will not, like, they say they want these things in life to happen. And I know for a fact that they're not watching things that will make those things happen, whether it's me or Gary Vaynerchuk or Graham Stephan or whoever it is that can actually maybe add some value to them. But I also get that, okay, you had a hard day, you just want to watch something mindless and get your mind off of things. But it's a little frustrating because it's like, I'm seeing the results from people who are getting the results, and I'm like, man, if more people just got into this and gave things a shot or tried some of this stuff, like, their life would get so much better, and all the things that they're saying they're going through could, at least within a year or 2 years from now, they'd be able to address those things in a way they never would be if they don't do something. If they just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. And so it's so frustrating, because now I'm understanding why people make a lot of fluffy, like, clickbait disguised as, like, people make this clickbait stuff and it's wildly entertaining and it has all these memes in it and it lacks any substance in terms of, like, the real information, or they make content where they're trying to be helpful, but all anyone does is gush over the cinematography because that's what's going to get them the views. You get what I'm saying? It's so frustrating that there's not. It's so frustrating to know that people have a demand, or at least they claim to have a demand for wanting to get their life together, get their crap together, but the actions don't match up to that, and it's dictated by the data, and it's just kind of like, what happened here? Because I know I didn't mess up. Like, it's like, I put out something useful, so people said they want this. People said they want better. Here it is.
Yeah.
What now?
I think that's just, like, it's sad, but that's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of like how it's not going to change, I don't think, anytime
I mean, it's
soon.
easier, though, because, I mean, you know what happens, though? And I've watched this. The people who are trying to help people, they end up having to make a meme of themselves, and they have to talk about how rich they are before anyone will pay attention to them. Because, like, before, when Graham Stephan just made really good content, but it wasn't, like, I'm a millionaire in every title, and in the first 30 seconds of him saying that in every video, he wasn't getting views.
Yeah.
And until, like, he went viral, he also was not, generally speaking, getting views.
All right, guys, we've got this issue where not everybody who's in the chat is giving this stream a thumbs up. So if you've made it this far, you should pat yourself on the back by hitting the thumbs up button. on this live stream.
I don't know, but like, you got any advice for me, guys, on like the whole? Okay, I know like people who like see stuff are people who actually watch stuff like it, but it's like I know psychologically I can fix this problem for anybody else. I can't fix this problem for me. You know what I mean? Like, I can fix this problem for anybody else. I can tell them exactly how to fix this problem, but it's one of those like you cannot, you can't help yourself. It's like what they say. Oh, you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise? he could save others from death, but not himself.
Yeah. I mean, your content, like the difference between your content and like the fluffy entertainment stuff is even if yours, might not get as many views or something, it impacts people way more than a fluffy entertainment video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out how to scale a solution, you know what I'm saying? Like, because you do have to psychologically compete, or at least the YouTube forces you into a position where you have to psychologically compete between where people are right now in their mindset or in their day, and there's no way to predict that. There's no way to predict when someone is more receptive to, you know what, I really want to figure out how to pay my bills this month, versus I really want to not think about paying my bills this month. There's no way to...
Yeah, they already kind of have to be in that mindset, like something that's really... So because I have different channels for different types of videos, I subscribe to those types of videos within that account. So like in my ASMR one, when I log in, all I get recommended are ASMR videos because that's all I'm subscribed to and that's all I watch using that channel. Yeah. So the same goes for my remote Romina channel. When I log into that account, all I get are business videos. So I think that like if someone...
I've seen the same thing in my other accounts, by the way. I agree with you.
They might not particularly be looking for that, but if they are already in like the cycle of like, oh, last week they were looking for credit cards that will get them the best travel deals, then they'll start, just because it comes across again, because the algorithm feeds it to them again, they're going to be in that mindset still.
That's why if you're not making trendy or entertainment content, the only thing you can do is make search optimized content that's evergreen in nature, so that if it gets like optimized where there's all of a sudden an attention thing around the topic, you'll get recommended. Because that's how my video that on passive income went to 1 million views, was it got most of it 6 months after the fact, because all of a sudden a lot of people started talking about passive income for some reason, or somebody's video went viral and then everyone tried to piggyback, and mine was the best optimized video and it had the better thumbnail in most cases, so then I started getting the click-throughs on that. But it was 6 months after I uploaded it that I got all those views. So like, the only thing you can do if you don't make trendy or entertainment content is you have to ride it out, because you have to ride it out and know that at some point the long tail of your archive will matter. I mean, that's just historically been almost any video that did big for me never did it in what normal YouTubers experience, where it happens in like the first couple days or first week or first month off the view velocity. It's always been months later.
Yeah. I think that, well, I mean, we could obviously go on and on talking about this, but I think we should reserve this for next time. We can talk about
interesting
what kinds of videos we should be making, or the videos that we want to be making, should we be making them?
I'm gonna make useful videos that make money, because like, well, it's
all
like,
right. We'll talk about that next time, Roberto. Save it.
The one thing I'll leave,
you gotta give people, give them a cliffhanger, man.
The one thing I'll leave the audience with from a like motivational standpoint is I'm actually happier with my content than I've ever been, regardless of how it performs. Regardless of how it performs, I'm happier with my content than it's ever been, because I feel like my content is more me than it's ever been. Like, I've never, like, my content's always been authentic, but my content is really speaking to, and my delivery style is close to what I do with my public speaking now. I'm closing the gap between how I am on camera versus how I speak on stage, because how I speak on stage somehow really surpassed how I was on camera at some point. And so I'm feeling happier about my delivery and my timing, and it's working based on the comments. What figurine is that from? Like, is that from Ice Age? I want to say
No, it's just a tiny little mammoth.
But yeah, isn't that from Ice Age though?
I mean, it's not from Ice Age. It's not a character. It is an actual animal that once existed and roamed the earth.
Allegedly.
I thought all mammoths were in the Ice Age.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. No, I'm messing with you because of the flat earthers and like the creation.
Oh man! So I saw this really great.
Okay.
I saw this really great meme that was the only thing flat earthers fear is sphere itself.
That's such a dad joke.
Where did you find that? Or did you come up with
that?
I'm just gonna be super controversial and everything like that. Anyone who thinks that like Earth is flat needs their head examined.
Do you just have like a collection of these on your desk?
I have like
Oh my
I have like we're gonna play this game. Here's Gwen Stacy. Here's
oh my god.
Here's the homemade ghetto costume. From,
Audrey, show us your toys.
Here's
I literally don't have
here's with the
any.
jacket. Here's Spider-Man with the jacket and the headphones. Like
You know why? Because wow, Audrey.
You're bringing
this
out
is
plants.
really,
Are we doing that now?
really
We doing that now?
oh.
It's like, I got you.
Oh, you know what? I got plants too.
Everything on
Y'all
our
check
desk.
this out.
It's not a plant. That's a weed.
I just held this.
Excuse me, Roberto. We don't talk about such things on this channel. No, this is actually really interesting because Roberto and I pulled out our toys, and we were talking about brands and stuff and like pop culture. Meanwhile, Audrey's all like, I don't got toys. I ain't about brands. I didn't grow up with brands. I don't know nothing about Nickelodeon.
I don't know why I never watched Nickelodeon. That's kind of weird.
All right, guys.
It's super weird. Like, because here's the thing. My sister is like your age, Audrey, and she's obsessed with 90s culture and knows all of it.
I'm an anomaly. I don't know what my parents did that I've never watched these shows growing up, but I don't know.
Did you at least watch like Disney movies?
I barely watched any of those either.
Oh dear God.
Like, I've watched some, but like I wouldn't really remember.
You know what? I guarantee you Audrey doesn't know about gargoyles.
Wow. Andrew says that Audrey is the one adult in the room. Well, yeah, she's 87.
That's very true.
I am an adult. No, she won't know this reference either. I am the law.
All right. So, actually, Abu just asked what Audrey's Twitter is. So I think it'll be good if we just end this here and tell everybody what our Twitter is, starting with Roberto.
Mine is at Roberto Blake. It's just my name.
Audrey.
Oh, mine's at Audrey Ember, like the flame. Because people get that mixed up.
And I'm Red Romina. And we are.
Oh, I'll do an outro. I'll do the fake outro.
Oh, okay. All right, Roberto. Well, you're.
NARP.
Just yell NARP.
But no, I'll probably do that again at the end. But
It is the end, Roberto.
like no, I mean at the end. But like and that's it for the No Assembly Required podcast. Thank you for tuning into our show. Make sure that you reference any and all of the show notes and affiliate links linked in the description down below. Please remember to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel and give us a review in iTunes if you were suitably entertained. This has been the No Assembly Required podcast with your host, Red Romina, the girl who is going to watch all of Star Trek in chronological order, Audrey Ember, who managed not to burn everything down today, and of course, Roberto Blake, who continues his path for world domination. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Nope.
Nope.
It's the best ending.
The No Assembly Required podcast is filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Still going?
And that is a wrap.